What up, everybody? It's your girl July from Kickback Couture. Today will be the first episode of Pimp My Beat. Alright, I got my first, what is it called? Okay. I got the first submission for the first episode from Darren, and he wants to know how he can mix this loop. So let's play it. Alright, cool. Notice Darren did bounce these out just in case I didn't have them, which right now I do not have helium installed. I have it, but I don't have it installed. So thank you for bouncing those out. Very helpful in me not having to go download more stuff. Alright. My first steps would be to go through this and see what is what, as these are not organized. So let's go ahead and solo this. Oh, it's right here. Gonna put poly synth on it. Next we got hi-hats. Got a second hi-hat here. Name this on the red drum, and it automatically changes the tape on the track, the name on the track. Here you can see it does that. It's already changed. So quick tip there, if you change the name on the tape of the instrument itself, you'll change the mix track as well. So let's see what this is. This is the kick, and we don't have that in that area, so I'm just gonna right click and copy pattern the track, and now we have it there. Turn this off so we don't hear the pattern double. Do that for this one as well so it doesn't double. If you don't turn off the red drum and other such instruments, and you have pattern enabled, it can double the signal, which could cause phasing issues, which would make it sound weird, and phasing as in it cancels out certain frequencies. It'll just sound crazy. Alright, so I have hydronexius, but we have this here. Brass. And I have since moved everything into the middle rack. What was this? The 808. Alright, moving that over. And then with that we have 808, kick. Need to move this over. Hi-hat, brass, and this poly synth. Alright, cool. Now everything is nice and organized. We do have some stuff on the master. Let's just move that over there. I'm going to bypass everything on the master. Alright, let's collapse this for now. Now, as many of you may know, I start my mixes with my kick. So, just gonna put the kick over here to the right in a new rack, and let's solo this kick. First, I see that this kick is stereo. I prefer my kicks to be mono, And I know that it's stereo because these are moving at different times. At times you see the right channel peak a little bit louder than the left. So what we're gonna do is, there's a few things you can do. You could just put a mono plugin on it, or you can use Reason has a built-in stereo imager, M-class stereo imager, and we can just pull in mono, and now it's mono. Now, if for some reason it was made stereo for a reason, we could just make everything about 300 to 250 hertz and below mono, and keep the rest how it was before. This is a trick used to make things sound bigger. However, making drums stereo, especially specifically the kick drum and the 808, isn't a good idea because it won't translate in a club. It'll cause phasing issues, which means you won't be able to hear what the sample is supposed to sound like, because it'll be canceled out in various different areas of the frequency spectrum. Alright, so I'm just going to pull this mono. And this kick hits pretty hard already, right? So we'll just leave it like this and turn my headphones up a little bit. And let's go grab the 808. I won't change the character of the kick too much because this isn't my track. In my case, I would cut out some of the high end of this kick. So just to show what that would look like. I'll do something like that. And you see Darren has already cut out some of the low end. Which is very helpful for helping it mesh with the bass that we're about to mix in also. Now this 808 is a bit loud, if not very loud, so let's go ahead and look at them next to each other. So they're about equal. Actually, the 808 is louder than the kick. I just went up. Yeah, I'm not good at the right to left movements. Alright, so let's turn this down. I typically mix my 808s lower than my kick. And that's a good level. If you want, you could do sidechain compression. Let's see. Which would be beneficial in this case because the kick and the 808 aren't hitting at the exact same pattern. If they were at the same pattern, it would be kind of counterintuitive to sidechain the kick and 808 because that could be the purpose for them to hit at the same time. That could be what the producer wants. And sidechaining that can take away from that pound, that knock that they have when they are combined. But in this case, they are hitting at different times, so we could sidechain so that the kick and 808 do not clash. Now in order to do that, I'm going to drop down this mix channel, and here in the kick area, I'm just going to right click and take the parallel output of the kick, and this is why I named them earlier for mixing speed. Hopping up to the mixer here, we need to show the dynamics section, which is up here. And you see the key light turned on. That means that we have it connected. Now for extreme settings, we could do something like that. And while I'm up here, I do see this master compressor is on too. I'm gonna turn that off. Now let's do something that makes more sense and bring the ratio down to about maybe 3 or 4 to 1. Each one of these LEDs represents 3 decibels. And you can also see the 808 ducks when the kick is hitting. And that's just going to give our kick room to pound through also. Alright, so the next element in this beat we're going to mix in is, let's do this first hi-hat here. Just going in line with the drums. Let's go ahead and collapse these. Hold down Option or Alt to collapse everything in a rack. Alright. Now with these hi-hats, I would get some panning going on. So instead of keeping them straight in the middle, since hi-hats are like high frequencies as we just seen, let's get some panning going on. So a free tool we have access to is Pancake by Cable Guys. And we could just grab that here. Pancake 2. And let's put it on 1/4. Bring the mix level down a little bit, which is pretty much the equivalent of making this curve less sharp. Different curves available here. But still turn down the mix level. And you can see which parts of the hi-hats are being panned from left to right. When you pan things, it is important to also attenuate them, meaning turn them down, because when you pan them out away from the center, they get louder because they're no longer competing with everything else in the center, which in this case is that kick and 808. And the kick and 808 are of low frequencies, but it's still important to turn things down once you pan them out to the side, especially this hi-hat. Alright. Cool. Second hi-hat. Loud, let's turn it down. And you can also view the spectrum just if you want to be safe and see if you can't necessarily hear everything yet. You can always pull that up. I just hit F2 to pull it up, or you can pull it up here on the track. For those of you that don't know, of course. This one already has some panning going on within the sample itself. So what I would do with this one is, now that I know we have two hi-hats, which I knew before, but let's instead pan this about 16 to the left, and let's turn this off and pan this about 16 to the right, just so we have a good balance. And we can kind of match those volume levels, they look fine. But let's turn this down a little bit. Alright, cool. First sound we got is this polysynth. Moving this over. Turning it down. A couple ways you could turn things down. You could do it here, or you can hop into the sequencer and you could turn this down if you have anything bounced out. Sometimes it's done for CPU purposes, sometimes it's done for collaborations, like now. What I would do to this sound is add some stereo width. So there's a few ways we could do this. We can use that stereo imager, which is stereo imager. There it is. cutting out some of the low end so it doesn't interfere with the kick and the bass. Now we can add the stereo imager. We can use one of my favorite tools, which is Dr. MS, made by Matthew Lane, and I'll pull that up in a second. Dr. MS. And Dr. MS has some incredible presets. One of the ones I use most often, two of the ones I use most often are outside the speakers, and the other one I use is beyond the speakers. So that one is here. But what we're gonna do is just use this extra width in character preset. Just add a little bit more width, similar to the stereo imager, but it has tons of more features, and I guess you could say it's more fancy, but it just has more capabilities. But we'll go with the free option, and I'll talk about Dr. MS some more in the future. Turn it down some more here. Alright, as far as polysynth, I know it came from Helium. Alright, the brass, solo this as well. I'm gonna drag this over. Now these sounds already have reverb on them, so I won't be adding any reverb or delays because they're already present. Let's turn this down. Gonna put a stereo imager on this as well. One thing you can utilize with width is these width knobs here. So the sound we're working on right now is the brass, and we have this width knob here. We can make it width knob here that we can bring down or bring up. So right now it's completely mono. This is another way to make your drums mono, just by bringing down the width knob. And we have this snare that I missed. Let's find this in the rack. What is this connected to? Whoa. This red drum. I'm not sure what happened here, but not gonna mess with it. This also already has some reverb going on. Alright, looking at the snare here and listening, it's kind of lacking some low end to be a clap slash snare. So what we can do is kind of add some back in this area here. Just put it on E mode. Now this is a dramatic boost, but it's okay. After referencing this in my monitors, I realized that I needed to turn the polysynth down, so I turned it down, and I also turned the brass up. Another thing I did was pan the polysynth to the right, 22, and I panned the brass to the left, 22, so that they're not clashing again in the middle. And I did have a stereo imager on the polysynth, but they're still playing at the same time, so I just wanted to give it some more separation and get those sitting in different places within the stereo field. Now, with this particular sample, I hear it popping at the end. So, important step for me would be to edit this sample. So I'm just going to right click in the red drum and edit it, and we see we have a lot of extra space after it plays. Some of that may be reverb, but let's hear it. Yeah, just all empty. So let's go ahead and take this and crop it. So actually just gonna highlight some of this. Let's see where the reverb stops. About here, and I'm gonna crop it. And now let's listen. Our pop is about right here. So let's move our endpoint, crop it, and let's get a fade out going right here, just so it doesn't pop again. Alright, let's play it. Alright, that's much smoother. There is some air at the end of that, but since there's reverb, there's not much we could do about it if we want to keep that reverb. Alright, now it's cleaner. Alright, and there you have it. We went from, let's find it, we went from this to this. Which leaves tons of space for a vocal or an artist, and you might even want to turn these up some more. It's all preference based. Do what you like, do what you please. Over here in the master section, I turn everything off. We can add it back. I would bring down this dry wet mix here. See, we got some mid-side EQ going on. There you have it. We went from this to this. Oh, also noted I did turn down the kick a bit using this level here, but besides that, that is all, folks. If you like this video and you want to submit, definitely go ahead and submit. I'll drop the guidelines for submitting down in the description. It's all Couture, Kickback, and Cookup. I was going to say you know the rest, but you might not, so.